And I see we're missing one supervisor. Hopefully he'll join us here in just a moment. But let's go ahead and get started. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, and this is a special session of the Coconino County Board of Supervisors. Welcome to November. I don't know what happened to the previous 6 months, but we're in November, so welcome to November, everyone. This is, of course, a board meeting for the Coconino County Board of Supervisors, and we are now at the call to order. My name is Patrice Horseman, and I am the chair of the Board of Supervisors and also the supervisor for District 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do roll call. District 2. He's not here yet. So District 3.
Matt Ryan, District 3. Glad to see everybody.
Good to see you, Matt. District 4.
Judy McGay, District 4 Supervisor. I'm here.
All right. I know you're here, Judy, and thank you for being here. And your volume is really, really low. So if somebody can go and help you, that would be great. That seems to happen a lot. I'm not sure why. So, but hopefully they can help you on that. District 5. District 5, Lena Fowler. I do see that your name is here. Are you able to join us? District 5. We hear you loud and clear, Supervisor Fowler.
Okay. Thank you. Let me work on it. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Chair, Supervisor or Vice Chair Vasquez has joined us. He's here.
All right. So I'm going to call then again, District 2.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Geronimo Vasquez, Supervisor, District 2 and Vice Chair.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us, everyone, this afternoon. You can tell the weather is about to change. It's getting cold out there. So, and I understand we may see our first snow soon. Members of the board, next on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So those that can, please stand. Our clerk will put a flag up and the Pledge of Allegiance. And let's say the Pledge of Allegiance to honor our country. Lindsay? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and next on our agenda is the call to the public. And members of the public, this is the time for you to be able to address comments, questions, or concerns to the Board of Supervisors. These are items you can address the board on for matters that are not listed on the agenda. And now would be your time to contact us. And I am asking that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. And of course, this is a public meeting. We ask that you be respectful. And also, since these are matters that are not listed on our agenda, the open meeting law requires that our comments, that we do not engage in discussions on this. But if we do want to talk about this further, that we will put this on for a further board meeting or ask a member of our staff to contact you on the matter. And I know that in just a minute, our clerk is going to tell you how you can call and address the board. But before we go there, I know that Stephen Peru, our county manager, has some comments to make under call to the public. So I'll call on him first, and then we will ask Lindsay to explain to the public how they can join us. So at this point, County Manager.
Thank you, Chair Horseman and members of the board. If I could have Marty Delgadillo turn on her camera, please. Marty. So Marty, welcome. So Marty is going to be retiring on November 10th. And since we don't have a board meeting after today, I wanted to provide an opportunity to acknowledge Marty Delgadillo and her contributions to the county. Marty was hired back in 1997 as an administrative assistant, actually in the manager's office here downstairs in admin. We both supported Jim Keene, the county manager at that time. And from that time, Marty moved over to the jail district as an admin assistant, and then promoted to business manager in the jail district in 2000. And then from there transferred to the court, where she worked as an administrative manager, and then moved over to senior administrative manager in the courts. And so she has been with us since May of 1997. And I just wanted to provide an opportunity to appreciate Marty for her contributions. And so Marty is that kind of person that whenever we can't figure something out, we always go to, okay, we need to check with Marty, or we need to check with, there's like 10 people in this county that know everything about the county in their head. And so we're going to be trying to figure out some kind of way to get this data dump of all the things that Marty knows, given her years of service to the county. And so just wanted to appreciate Marty for all of the good work that she's done here at the county and the courts and the sheriff's office to serve the public in a number of different ways. And so, Chair, I would give it back to you for board comment. And then, of course, the last word always goes to the person we're acknowledging, Marty. Thank you.
Very good. And thank you, County Manager. And Marty, wow, that's an impressive resume and impressive service to Coconino County. And certainly want to thank you so much and wish you all the best in your future adventures. And, you'll always be part of the Coconino County family. So thank you so much for your service. Other members of the board. Supervisor Ryan.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were retiring, Marty. Oh, and I've only been here about 3 months, 4 months more than you. So I've always enjoyed working together with you, both professional side and the side with all your humor and your very special personality. I've always enjoyed it. And Marty, I wish you well, and don't be a stranger out there, okay? Thanks,
Thank you.
Madam.
All right. And others, Supervisor Begay.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
thank you.
and Supervisor Begay, you are still very, very quiet. I know that is not your normal voice, so.
Hello,
Yes, there you go. You're going in the right direction.
I'm just punching this and that. Okay.
All right, good work. So Supervisor Begay.
I just want to say thank you to Marty, and I would have been able to work closely with you, and I'm a new board member, and I just want to wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose to do, outside your retirement. So thank you so much for helping the county, and you are always going to be part of the county as a family. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Sure. I'd just like to say congratulations. 25 years anywhere is quite a feat. So we appreciate your service, and sounds like everybody around that you work with is going to miss you. So enjoy your retirement. You've earned it. And thank you for all your service.
Other comments? I know that Supervisor Begay is having some technical difficulties. So Sue Brown, Deputy County Manager.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. It's a privilege to wish Marty the greatest of retirements. I don't know Coconino County without Marty. She was here before me. She has been a stalwart for years in so many different areas. She has helped us with the jail district. She has helped us in the courts. She has been a volunteer for numerous committees, and she's always been someone who believed in the county and actually has displayed the best kind of public service we can hope for. She's also my travel partner. We've never actually traveled together, but every once in a while we sit down for a cup of coffee and talk about travel, and we both just sit there and go off to someplace amazing. So Marty, I know there's many travels in your future. I'm so glad for you, and thank you for everything.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments? Deputy County Manager, Andy.
Hi, Marty. You're one of the first people that I had met at Coconino County, and
And I remember Steve saying, well, the jail district's upstairs, and we were in the 219 East Cherry admin building, and I go upstairs and Marty is the jail district at the time. And so, Marty, you are part of the culture of Coconino County and why Coconino County is such a positive place to work. And I came back because of you and people like you, and just really happy for you that you're retiring, and wish you the best. And I know you'll do great things because that's just who you are. So thanks, Marty.
Thank you. Sharon Yates.
Hello, good afternoon. Sharon Yates, I'm the court administrator with the Superior Court, and I just want to take a brief moment to thank Marty for all her help and assistance, her years of service with the court. I truly appreciate everything she has done. I'm going to miss coming into the office, seeing her smiley face, her energy. We will be having a celebration later on next week for her. So I'm going to keep my comments brief, but I started out as an intern, and Marty taught me a lot. She was my direct supervisor, so I learned so much from her, and I'm so grateful to be able to work alongside her and accomplish great things. So I will truly miss you, Marty. Congratulations on your retirement.
All right, other comments? All right, then Marty, I'm going to turn this over to you if you'd like to say a few words to your colleagues.
Well, Chairman Horseman, the wonderful Board of Supervisors, County Administration, all these beautiful colleagues I worked with throughout the years. I've actually been in public service 35 years. I started at NAU and Coconino Community College. And then Steve Peru opened the door, left the light on, and gave me a job, and I'm very grateful. I have had extraordinary moments and experiences here. I will always call county my family. Thank you for making working 35 years in public service such a pleasure. I am going to go through withdrawals. I'm going to go through the grieving, all those grieving emotions you do when you break up with a boyfriend and you find a new one. That's the way I'm going to feel about all of you. And as Andy said, we come back to the county because it's all about people, and the heart shows here every day. So thank you so much for tolerating me all these years. And there's Supervisor Lena Fowler. Thank you.
I made it.
I really, really have had a fabulous ride. Now I'm going fishing. Yeah, I'm going to go fishing and do a little traveling and spending some quality time devoting to my family and friends. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair.
Well deserved. And yes, Supervisor Fowler.
Thank you. Got my camera going here. Thanks so much. Marty, what are we going to do without you during budget time and all of the, your big smile and the wonderful hugs? Thank you so much. And just retirement. Wow. Just have a great time. Maybe I'll join you fishing. I love to go fishing.
And I always heard your beautiful words of following the path of the beauty way. So I hope to live my next 44 decades, because we Delgadillos live to 100. I hope to live it in the path of mindfulness and beauty. So thank you for your words of wisdom along the way.
All right. Thank you very much, Marty, and best of luck to you and your family. Thank you for your service. So members of the board, we are moving along to public comment for members of the public. And this is called to the public section. And as I said, members of the public, now is your time to address the board. And I'm going to turn this over to our clerk, Lindsay Daly, and have her explain how you can join us here at the board meeting. So Lindsay.
Thank you, Chair Horseman. At this time, if there's anyone that would like to make a comment during the public comment portion of the meeting, you can hit the raise hand icon that will appear if you hover towards the bottom of your screen. It's a hand and it says raise hand. If you click on that, that will raise your hand and notify us that you would like to speak. If you've joined by telephone, you can hit *9 and that will raise your hand and notify us that you would like to speak.
Thank you, members of the public. Now is the time.
And at this time, there are no hands raised.
All right, so last call, members of the public, for you to address the governing board here at this board meeting. So please join us if you'd like to make a comment.
And still no hands.
Very good. All right, we're going to move forward on our agenda, and we have a proclamation. We have actually two proclamations. Our first proclamation is consideration and possible action proclaiming the month of November 2022 as Native American Heritage Month here in Coconino County. And I'm going to turn this over to our Human Resources Director, Erica Philpott, who will introduce this proclamation. Hi, Erica. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Chair Horseman, members of the board. It's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon on behalf of the Diversity Committee to bring forward for your consideration this proclamation designating November 2022 as Native American Heritage Month. And here to read the proclamation today are two employees, Public Works Administrative Specialist Jenny Buckinghorse and Flood Control District Administrative Specialist Shirley Watkins.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, Shirley and Jenny. And please, I think you're going to read the proclamation for us, so please take it away.
Thank you. Proclamation designating November 2020 as Native American Heritage Month, where areas every year our country pauses to celebrate Native American Heritage Month and reflect upon the profound ways that First Peoples, also referred as Indigenous peoples, have shaped our country's character and culture, and where areas our country is blessed by the character and strength exemplified by the Indigenous peoples who have answered to the call of service in our armed forces, fighting bravely to protect our freedom. We honor our Indigenous peoples, veterans, and those who are serving for the bravery and sacrifice. In where areas we celebrate their rich traditions of First Peoples of what is now United States, and cannot forget all they endure. In where areas the month of November is an important time for our country to recognize a year-round commitment of honoring and strengthening the relationship between tribal nations and local governments. And
whereas Coconino County is dedicated to preserving and promoting Indigenous peoples' culture in the community, education, and workforce, stressing the importance of culture, identity, language, history, and vibrancy of tradition passed on throughout the generations. And whereas the name Coconino is derived from Kohino, the Hopi word for Havasupai, and Yavasupai, such that our county's name represents more than one group of people. And now, therefore, be it resolved that in the spirit of celebrating and honoring the essential contributions of Indigenous peoples to our county, our nations, and our communities, we do hereby recognize November 2022 as Native American Heritage Month and encourage all residents to join us in expanding knowledge of the history and contribution of Indigenous people of this great land, reflecting and embracing diversity that strengthens us. Ejeha eskwali.
Thank you very much, both of you, for reading this important proclamation. And I know there will be some comments that people would like to make, but because I am known to forget to take a motion and a vote for these proclamations, before we move on, I want to go ahead and get a motion and a second and a vote, and then we'll have some comments from members of the board. So do I have a motion to approve the month of November 2022 as Native American Heritage Month, and to approve the proclamation as read? Supervisor Fowler, would you like to make a motion?
Thank you. I'd be honored to make a motion to approve this November as the Native American Heritage Month, recognizing it in Coconino County and have it rumble throughout the country that this is Native America land.
All right, thank you. And Supervisor Begay, would you like to second that motion?
So move.
All right, we have a motion and a second declaring the month of November as Native American Heritage Month in Coconino County and across the nation. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 It is unanimous. So thank you so much. And I know there'll be some comments made. Supervisor Fowler, you're first up.
Yes, you know, while we celebrate Native America in this country at this time during the month of November, you know, Native American people and culture, language, we face, you know, threats, devastating, that will have a devastating consequences in Indian country. And just as an example, right now we have a U.S. Supreme Court that is going to be heard on an oral arguments about Indian Child Welfare Act. That act is so important for us. We've had children taken from families. Families are still looking for their children. I have neighbors that are still looking for their brothers and sisters because they were taken. It was something that you could do. And things that you hear on the news that's happening, you know, like the Holocaust, the devastations in other countries, and we all sit there tearfully watching the news. It's happened to Indian Native Americans, you know, and so, you know, this is such an important time, and this is a recognition that is so important. I want to thank our Human Resource Director, Erica, and the Native American Advisory Committee. She has our own staff. I want to thank our county management and just the county as a whole to hold this as true, you know, holding the diversity in our county as very important and really speaking the truth. And I think this is very important that we, something such as this, as a recognition of Native Americans is very important. We want to be surrounded by our children in our own communities. We want our extended families and to be with us. And we don't want this just the month of November. However, November is really important as well because of the election cycle. We are discriminated as Native people, as voters. We're still even trying to, and I want to thank the county again for helping to really try to get every Native American in Arizona to get a birth certificate. Birth certificate is so important. It opens doors, it allows for benefits you're eligible for, even your retirement and your pension. And so, you know, we have people in our residents in the county saying that when they went to work, they wanted to know if they were strong enough to work, if they were old enough to work. And then when they retire, they're being asked if they were born and where they were born. You know, we are the first natives, these are our native lands, and yet we don't have the rights as others. We were recognized in 1924. If we were not already, we have not given up lands, and that's when we were able to gain our voting rights. Since then, to this day, right now, our county has been very worked hard to make sure Native vote is there, Native communities. So I just want to thank our county elections, our county recorder, for being a force in Native American voting rights. I could say more, but those are the two I just want to bring up. And so thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank again our staff and reading the proclamation and writing and making sure that we have all these wonderful events too. So I want to thank everyone and just may all harmony and balance and the spirit of togetherness and love and happiness rumble through the country in the recognition of Native America. Ojo, thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Fowler. Supervisor Begay, see you're bubbling up next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Here, huh? Okay. Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak to the proclamation. Every November, we come before, the second time we came before the board, the staff have come before the board regarding the Native American Heritage Month, and to celebrate and to honor the remarkable Native Americans who have contributed a lot to improve the characteristics of the overall nation. So we are very proud of that. And then also it's a time to rejoice in diverse and rich cultural histories and traditions, and also to appreciate the great contributions that have been made by the Native Americans. And it allows us to spread awareness about tribes and educate everyone about the various challenges that were faced at the time that we were having it rough. So I just want to say we should all be continuing to support all tribes, and to continue to let the world know about the sacrifices that were made by all the tribes. I'm very thankful to the veterans as a Navajo co-talkers, and there are other areas that I felt that we were prime examples, as we had made a lot of sacrifices to bring freedom to this world, that we've had in the great United States of America. And I just want to thank the staff for bringing this proclamation to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Supervisor Begay. Other comments from board members?
Sure.
Vice Chair.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I want to say thank you to the staff for bringing this proclamation. It's so important, and it's so good to be able to proclaim it once again, in this time of year. The contributions to our first citizens and first residents of this land are so important, and are finally getting the recognition that they deserve. And so we got to continue that. And I'm very proud to be part of Coconino County that recognizes the contributions of our Native American constituents and staff members and family to Coconino County. So I just want to say thank you for bringing the proclamation, and thank you everyone for celebrating it.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Other Supervisor Ryan?
There we go. Trying to get off the mute. I made it. All right.
I saw you fumbling. I knew you were trying to get on.
Yeah, all the different venues. But actually, it is a time of recognizing our diversity and culture, and most importantly, our Native American heritage. I've had the great pleasure of working together with women leaders in particular, from, in this case with our board, we have two members, Judy Begay and Lena Fowler, and Lena for many years, and Judy more recently, and then years ago, Louise Yellerman, and noting those challenges and sacrifices, and always trying to do better. It's so important to have you as leaders helping us understand and helping us try and figure out how we can help. But seeing many advances also, your contributions over the years and what you've done for our county, but even more so for our Native American representatives. So a very important time to pause and recognize Native American Heritage Month. Thank you to each of you, and especially for having this brought forward. Thank you.
All right, and just to round it off, just of course, this is an important proclamation, and I do want to thank the county for bringing this forward and our two presenters for reading the proclamation and honoring and recognizing the 13 Native American nations and tribes that have called Coconino County their home. And acknowledging that we are right now here in Coconino County existing on tribal lands and the importance of maintaining input relations and honoring all of our tribal nations and working to improve relations and ending the continued mistreatment and discrimination as has been described. And it's so important that we have two great leaders from the Dene, both Supervisor Fowler and Supervisor Begay. And again, thank you. This is an important proclamation. And I know probably, Erica, you're going to tell us about some events that are going to come forward here in honor of Native American Heritage Month. So Erica, I'm going to have you give us a list of what we can expect and hopefully take part in.
Thank you, Chair Horseman. Yes, the committee has planned many events throughout the month. There are several each week, many virtual choices and some in-person choices, as well as a book club. And so tomorrow at the admin building in Flagstaff, there will be a fry bread taco day from 12 to 1. So it's a great day to stop by admin and enjoy some fry bread. So that's really exciting. We are having next week, Bob Stevens is coming and speaking about preserving the Apache language on Monday. And on Wednesday, we have a Hopi artist, Elmer Satala Jr. will be with us from 12 to 1 virtually. The following week on the 14th, we will have Gwenda Lee Gatewood with the White Mountain Apache speaking on the puberty ceremony. On Monday from 12 to 1. On Tuesday, the 15th, Leroy is coming to talk about planting stick. And on the 16th, Jenny Buckinghorse, who just helped read the proclamation, has an in-person event on Navajo identity and ceremonies, and that will be at admin. So lots of great events. On the 21st, Supervisor Fowler is going to join us and speak about the wedding ceremony in person. We're going to have a potluck on that day. The entire week of November 14th to the 18th is Rock Your Mocks. So we'll be doing that all of that week. We're partnering on the 28th and 29th with the Indigenous Commission with the City of Flagstaff for two different presentations that week. And on December 1st, we're going to have another Native American craft show at admin from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thanks to Shirley Watkins for planning that one and the one that we had just the other week, which was a great success and showcased some of our employees who are artisans as well, including Francine Hanani. So really pleased to be able to have all of these events to have education and learn new perspectives and hear one another, tell stories. It's a great time to gather together and to understand one another better.
All right, thank you so much, Erica. It sounds like a lot going on here at the county, and thank you for that and for everyone who's going to be presenting, and look forward to participate in some of that. So appreciate
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Fowler.
I'd like everyone to pick up a book by a Native author. I read Native literature. Lately I've been reading Native authors quite a bit, and one of them is our book club is an Indian Lawyer by James Welch. James Welch is a great author. We lost him early, but there are other great authors, poets, of course, artisans. But just encourage everyone to read a book. If you want recommendations, I have quite a few. If you don't get a hold of me, I'm probably in a corner somewhere with a book.
Thank you, Supervisor Fowler, for the recommendations, and we may email you for more, so thank you. All right, members of the board, at this point, we are going to move on. We have another proclamation, another very important proclamation before us. This is consideration and possible action to approve a proclamation designating November 7th through the 11th, 2022 as a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. And with us, County Manager Peru, I think you're going to introduce a couple of individuals who will be reading our proclamation. And it looks like Jess McNeely and Brian Davidson have joined us. And I'm going to turn this over to you, County Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. A couple of introductory comments. Again, we have Jess and Brian with us. The county is blessed to have many individuals that are veterans, that have been veterans, that have joined county service. And with the Veterans Day coming up, we want to take this opportunity to acknowledge their work, in addition to not only our workforce. A member of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Matt Ryan, of course, is a veteran as well. And so this is an important initiative from the National Association of Counties. And so the introduction on that, I'll read. So it's Operation Green Light for Veterans. America's counties have a long and proud history of serving our nation's veterans, a legacy that continues this day as we work with our federal, state, local partners to ensure that the former service members in our communities have access to the resources they need to thrive. This coming Veterans Day, the National Association of Counties and the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers invite the nation's over 3,000 counties, parishes, and boroughs to join Operation Greenlight and show support for veterans by lighting our buildings green from November 7th through the 13th. By shining a green light, county governments and our residents will let veterans know that they are seen, appreciated, and supported. And so at this time, I'm going to ask Jess and Brian, first of all, to introduce yourselves, the positions, and your veteran service, what you've done, and then we'll be reading the proclamation. So let's see, Jess, if you can introduce yourself first and your service to the country as well.
Yes, thank you, County Manager Steve Peru. My name is Jess McNeely. I had the honor and privilege of serving in the U.S. Army for 30 years on both active duty and reserve duty. And I've had the privilege and honor and joy of serving here with Coconino County in the Community Development Department for over 5 years.
Great, thank you. And then Brian?
Board of Supervisors and County Managers, thank you so much for having me. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1998 to 2002. I'm the lead network engineer here at Coconino County. I've been with county for about 11 and a half years now.
Great, thank you. And then at this point, Madam Chair, Jess is going to begin the proclamation, and then Brian is going to follow, and then we'll turn it back to you for the board action. And then I do have a couple of other additional comments with regard to this important proclamation after they're done, after your vote. So Jess, you can lead off.
Thank you, County Manager Peru, Madam Chair and Supervisors. This is a proclamation designating November 7th through 11th, 2022 as a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Whereas the residents of Coconino County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all of the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Coconino County seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, veterans of foreign wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And
whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life, and whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at high risk for suicide during their first year after military service, and whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Green Light for veterans, and whereas Coconino County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. Now, therefore, be it resolved, with the designation as a green light for Veterans County, Coconino County hereby declares November 7th through Veterans Day, November 11th, 2022, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice for men and women in uniform transitioning from active service, and be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Coconino County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residence during the week of November 7th through Veterans Day, November 11th, 2022. Signed and sealed on this first day of November 2022, Coconino County Board of Supervisors.
Madam Chair.
County Manager.
So Madam Chair, back to you for a vote discussion, and then I'll come back and provide some concluding comments.
Very good. And members of the board, I want to go ahead and take a motion second and a vote on this, and then we'll have comments. Supervisor Ryan, would you like, as our serving or formerly serving member of the Board of Supervisors, and thank you so much for your active service for this country, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that we proclaim designating November 7th through 11th, 2022 as a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. And in so doing, we're also asking that people observe Operation Green Light and light up their businesses or their homes during this period.
Thank you. We have a motion from Supervisor Ryan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Lena Fowler. All those in favor of proclaiming November 7th to the 11th as honoring and saluting the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service and in participating in Operation Greenlight, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. And at this point, I'm going to turn this back over to the county manager, and then we'll turn it over to the board for comments. So County Manager.
Thank you again. I asked Human Resources to provide me a list of our veterans here at the county. It's many individuals here that serve our county, but also have served our country. And so we honor our team members that have provided this service to our community and country. We also want to quickly have the opportunity for Tom Hanachek to come on to let us know how we're going to light it up at our county facilities. So Tom.
Excellent. Thank you, County Manager Peru. Chair Horstman, members of the board, it is a great honor to help support this initiative across many county buildings, considering how vast we are. It's also special to me because the oldest Hanachek boy is actually a veteran of the first Persian Gulf War. He was in the Navy also. Like most of us, we have grandparents and uncles that served throughout the years back in the middle of the 20th century. So we have a great opportunity to light up 15 different facilities across our inventory, ranging all the way from Fredonia to Tuba City, and then Williams, and then of course here in Flagstaff. So in partnership with Parks and Recreation, the Sheriff's Office, and Public Works, we'll be lighting up all of the buildings for the veterans that are on this call right now. So thank you. We have Fort Valley, where both Brian and Jess both work. We have the administrative center, which will probably be the greenest of all of them. So hopefully the neighbors are okay with that. And then we have our 110 East Cherry building. We have King Street. We have the 420 building, adult probation. We have the courthouse clock tower. So we did this at the beginning of COVID also with blue lights. So the very upper, the clock tower will be lit up green, which will be a cool effect. We'll be doing the Center for the Arts, 3rd Street Annex, where the Cooperative Extension is, and Housing Solutions in Sunnyside, Weed and Seed. Public Works will be doing their main administrative building, as will Parks and Rec, and we'll also be lighting up the Leaf building. Juvenile Court Services, and then, like I said, Williams Justice Center, the Tuba City Library, and we were lucky enough to install bulbs a couple weeks ago up in Fredonia. So we even reach out that far, and thanks to the Fredonia Justice Court staff for helping out with that.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and Tom. Again, I think one of the important parts of Operation Greenlight is that while we light up everything green, the general public may not really know, well, what's going on at the county and what does this signify? So with that, we've engaged our communications team. Want to thank Gregory and Stephen, and Corey also pitched in, also Joan. We'll be putting out press releases. We're going to be submitting all of our efforts to NACO News, and so we hope that you will be seeing our efforts in our national NACO News briefs every week. And so we're excited, but we're also at the same time very humble to honor our veterans for all the things that they've done. So back to you, Madam Chair, and members of the board, for your comments.
Yes, thank you. And very exciting time, Operation Greenlight. It's just wonderful, Tom, that so many of the county buildings are going to participate in this. Very important recognition and symbol of our thanks and recognition of the service of the men and women who have served our country in the now and in the past. So thank you so much, Tom, and all those from facilities management helping to turn our county green. So I appreciate that. And Jess and Brian, thank you so much for your comments. I'm going to turn this over first to Supervisor Ryan and then get some other comments from the board.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And first and foremost, well done, Colonel McNeely. Also, and to Brian, definitely Semper Fi. Really appreciate you reading that and speaking on behalf of others, which we all know to access services is so important. And that's the key piece. If we can encourage people to reach out to Veterans Affairs and access those services to benefit them, which would truly be really good. I'll be in Sedona November 11th for Veterans Day, as I usually do up until COVID came. So I'll be back down there, and it'll provide me the opportunity to read our resolution. For people out there, just anybody for your house, if you would consider lighting them up. This is a great time. It seems like Christmas sales get earlier and earlier. So now you can go and get green lights for Christmas and use that opportunity for that. Steve, I appreciate the press releases. I would encourage those guys also to reach out to our jurisdictional partners as an extra step. And maybe they would consider possibly moving forward with the same effort on this. To all the veterans out there, just so appreciate all your service, and please, if you can, access services. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Ryan. Other comments from members of the board? Vice Chair Vasquez.
Thank you. Well, first off, I want to thank both of you for reading the proclamation, and thank you for your service. Having several friends who are veterans and watching them go through what they do in the transition, and then also in their lives contributing to our society. It's really important that we recognize all veterans and thank them for their service. So again, I'd like to thank you for the proclamation and thank the county for recognizing our veterans and working to provide services for our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, members of the board?
Thank
Supervisor
you.
Fowler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had to take a deep breath. This is real emotional for me. You know, living with a veteran is not easy. Losing a father as a veteran very young is not easy. Coming from a veteran family and extended family is not easy. You know, green represents renewal, hope, moving forward. And it's just, it's really great to recognize veterans, all veterans. Veterans, whether you look like you're fine, you're happy all the time. I know internally there's always something churning. And I just want to recognize that, and I want to thank you for the resolution. I think it's just so important for us to not just thank veterans every day, but continue to pray for them. Continue to, when you have ceremonies, to make sure that you put down a stone for them. That's how however way you all pray, because it takes a lot out of you, your soul, your spirit, having been in combat, and then bringing it back to home to innocent people who don't understand what you went through, don't know how to handle you, to a community that is very strange. You have to sit when you go to a restaurant, you have to make sure you know where the door is, you know where everybody is. Doesn't matter where you go, you don't want to be in the crowd unless you've already scoped it out. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank all veterans and their families, their children, who have to be very patient with them, and in their changing lives that can change with the blink of an eye, and you don't know what triggered it. So I just want to thank you, Jess and Brian, for your service, and Tom for lighting up to the spirit of hope, spirit of well-being, spirit of moving on and having a happy life. And I think when we do this, and thank you, County Manager, I think when we do this, we're actually doing it for families also. So I want to thank you, Matt, for serving. Thank you for all the veterans, and I just have a great. I get very emotional when it comes to veterans. So thank you very much. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. When I know it's coming from April, but it is very personal for each and every one of us. I know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Begay. Supervisor Fowler. Thank you for your words. Supervisor Begay.
Yes, I just want to say, thank you to the staff for bringing this to our, to the board. It's very important that we acknowledge, our veterans out there. And it is emotional when you start thinking about it, because a lot of Native Americans were involved also, and, others of different nationalities. And so I just want to say that, it's very personal, and, for the Native Americans, a lot of times you have to have some type of traditional doing ceremonies for them to bring them back to, where before, even to the time when they left, and now they're a different person, and some turn to alcohol and stuff like that. So, but anyway, it is hard. I lost a brother out in combat. So it is really, and I appreciate, them sacrificing their lives and, even though there's harm's way, they're willing to do it. Even, very personal family members that have gone, you kind of relate to them, but, a lot of times, they're hard to talk to. And the response, it's hard to deal with too. But I just want to say, it is very personal. The veterans issue is very personal to me, and I think everybody that has made sacrifices to enlist and then go through always some to combat, some is not always to combat, but still yet you did a part in it, and you held a part of this whole thing where you were thinking about the freedom of everyone that's in our country, and so that's and protecting us, each and every one of us, where we go home and, enjoy ourselves at times, but, back of our mind, we have someone that we pray for a lot and, we love, and they're not around and we miss them. And that's probably how, I just feel that's how everybody has come to, to deal with as siblings and parents and, family members. So I just want to say thank you for bringing this proclamation forward. And I think, a lot of us face the same issues. And yes, it is hard to live with people that have come back. It is hard because, there's, like I said, family members have gone and, some, they don't come back. But, that's just a choice that they wanted to make, I guess. And we tried talking them out of it, but it's what they want to do. So I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for approving this proclamation, and that it's reality. And we still have kids that are growing up that might even be dealing with it one of these days. So we just all have to pray for one another and love and love our family members, and others, so that they know they're being loved and they're being cared for and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you again.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Begay. And yes, obviously, Veterans Day is coming up, and I really like the idea of Operation Greenlight, and I liked Supervisor Fowler's words of the color being for renewal, and in recognition of the sacrifice and service that so many have made in maintaining the democracy and honoring our country. And of course, most of us in our families also have had family members who have fought in wars and have been injured in wars and have, really made the call to service for our country and our democracy. And the other thing is important. November is really a symbol of our democracy. It is our voting month here in the United States. And it is our way for everyday citizens, both in uniform and not, to be able to stand up for their country and stand up for the democracy that so many who have fought and laid down their life for. So thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you honoring us, Jess and Brian, with the proclamation. And let's turn on those green lights. I think that's wonderful. It's a wonderful symbol across Coconino County and what we stand for. So thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Well, so Tom, you got the green light. Light it up. But we do have a dark sky ordinance. Remember, keep in mind, we do have dark skies. I'm sure we're proclamation portion of the agenda is done. Back to you for the consent agenda. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And, I don't know if there are any other events that they wanted to talk about. I don't want to cut them off if there were other events. But if there aren't, let's move along to the consent agenda. Members of the public, this is the consent agenda. This is a time which we, the board, include items that can be done in a single motion and a single vote. These are items that are mostly administrative or ministerial in nature. However, since they are done by one motion and one vote, we have an opportunity as a board to remove them from the consent agenda so we can discuss these items individually in which case we will also vote for these items individually. And I know before we wanted to remove item 5. This is for District 3 for an appointment. And also I'd like to remove item 12 to the consent agenda. And this is for an appointment from District 1. And are there other items that we would like to remove from the consent agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Fowler.
I'd like to remove item 5, which is workforce development, item number 7, which has to do with the courts, and number 11, our trails grant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other items, members of the board, that we would like to remove from the consent agenda? All right, well then we will, before we talk about those individual items, we will, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, removing items or for items 3 through 14 and removing item 5, 7, 10, 11, and 12. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion by Supervisor Begay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Vasquez. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. We have approved the consent agenda. We have a few items that we have removed. Item number 5 is consideration and possible action to approve the appointment of Bruce, and I'm going to mispronounce this and I apologize. Sabza, how do you pronounce it? Anybody? Supervisor Ryan, I think this is your appointment. Can you tell us the correct pronunciation of his name? Anybody?
Madam Chair, I believe it's Sobzak.
Okay. Principal consultant owner of SOBO Associates LLC to the Coconino Workforce Development Board for a 2-year term expiring on October 25th, 2024. And this is the appointment made by District 3. So I'm going to turn this over to Supervisor Ryan first, and then if other board members have comments or questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, it's just a great pleasure to see people coming forward, bringing their experience. And as Mr. Sopsaka has done, we certainly need that in the regeneration of the Workforce Development Board. It's taking a new direction, and hopefully we can have a broader engagement and opportunity provided. So it's, I'm expressing my appreciation for him coming forward. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks for pulling this. I'm a little scattered because I'm in a hotel room setting up for a conference for tomorrow, and I was a little behind on that. Sorry. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Any comments, questions?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Fowler.
I pulled this item for educational purposes, really. Thank you for the appointment. Thank you so much for volunteering to be on the Workforce Development Board. It is such an important board, and this department really does so much in our county for to build our economy, working with businesses and retraining, workforce development, displaced workers, even helps to, when a business is closing, to be able to find employees that are losing their jobs, to help them find new jobs, or maybe they need training. So I've asked Mr. Francis if he's on, and county manager, if they might be able to talk a little bit more about workforce development, because we don't hear much about the silent but mighty work that they're doing. So I really appreciate just the board and the work that they do, and just having that, just knowing that just the work, the hard work that they're doing, I thought it'd be very good for, this might be opportunity, Madam Chair, for our workforce development director to tell us more about it.
If I may, we do need to be careful because of the agenda item and how it's listed. And I know our deputy county attorney is here with us. And so this is limited to an appointment for the Workforce Development Board, but I think it'd be appropriate just for a very brief statement from Billy Francis. Hi, Billy.
I think it's important because, you know, it is an appointment, and the appointment is going to be doing this work. And that was the approach that I'm taking. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Billy, if you could just give us a very brief kind of overview of the board and the responsibilities for the board.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Supervisor Fowler, and board members for the opportunity. Mr. Bob Sobczak is going to be a very much so an asset to our local board. Understanding that your local workforce development board for Coconino County plays a large role in developing and fine-tuning your labor market. And so no local a board of supervisors that we are in fact continuing to try to build our local workforce development board. We're trying to build it so that it is a representation of Coconino County. And so if you know of any individuals or board members who would like to join the local workforce development board, we're looking to diversify our board. We're looking to get people of color. We're looking to get Native Americans on our local workforce development board so that we can in fact represent Coconino County. I would love to have an opportunity to come again and speak a little bit more on the local workforce development board when we have a little more time, but that's my message today, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Billy, and thank you for that, basically extending yourself to do that. We look forward to hearing from you in the future, so thank you so much. So any other comments, members of the board, or I will entertain a motion from Supervisor Ryan, since it's his appointment from his district.
Madam Chair, yes, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the appointment of Mr. Sosa to the Workforce Investment Board, and thank Billy's effort for, as discussed, broadening the opportunity for individuals on this board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Ryan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Fowler. All those in favor of appointing Bruce S., Principal Consultant Owner of Sobo Associates LLC, to the Coconino Workforce Development Board for a 2-year term expiring October 25th, 2024, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. And thank you, Bruce. I'm so sorry. I am absolutely butchering your last name, and we appreciate your service. All right, members of the board, moving on to item number 7. This was also pulled. It's consideration of possible action to approve the fiscal year 2023 Arizona Supreme Court funding agreement renewal to continue the eviction case navigator program and accompanying budget amendment with pass-through Arizona Department of Economic Security Emergency Rental Assistance Funds in the amount of $87,350 for a term from October 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And I know this, I don't know if there's somebody from the court that looks like Shelley Bacon is with us. And maybe before Shelley joins us on this, Supervisor Fowler, did you have some questions on this?
I just want to appreciate the courts for, you know, during the pandemic, we received, people were very concerned, and we heard about people losing their homes, their apartments, their rental, and, you know, evictions, you know, there was a pause and all of that, and then it opened up, and the courts stepped up to, and really decided how do we handle it within the courts, because they're going to be coming in. This is a really important funds that our county manager, the courts, and the team really put together. And I just wonder, you know, how many how many individuals were helped with this, and also, just the partnership that they have created, and how is this program going, because this is a renewal of that. And I thought it was just so innovative by the courts to be able to address this outside of just, our health department providing funding for rental assistance, but within the courts, they also took action. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Fowler. Shelley, you want to give just a brief update on this?
Thank you, Chairwoman Horseman and Supervisor Fowler. I actually am going to turn it over to Marty Delgadillo because she has the information you're looking for. And I see her hand is raised, so I think she's ready to share.
All right. Well, Marty, you haven't left us yet, so we're really
You're not out the door yet.
And we also have, thank you so much, Chairman of the Board, board members and county manager and staff. I also have Gretchen Hornberger here, who's our law librarian. She supervises our housing stability coordinator. Our health, I don't know if Sydney Axe is online, but she did have an appointment with a client who needed assistance with rental housing. So I'd like to introduce Sydney Axe with us today. If not, I would love for Gretchen to report on this program that she supervises. I do want to let you know that as of the inception of program, January through October 22nd, 76 eviction filings have been averted. 9 number of judgments have been averted. And the number of tenants referred for legal services is 21. And the letters and testimonials from clients and partners, we have about 60 or 70 testimonials. I provided those copies to the clerk of the board should she wish to share with you. And Gretchen also has another letter, some information to share from the Nation's West Veterans Organization, who supports this program, and we're losing funding at the end of this fiscal year. It was supposed to be a 3-year grant program, but we learned from DS that they're most likely not going to fund it at the conclusion of this fiscal year, which is a shame. But Sydney's here, and Gretchen and whomever wishes to chime in. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments from members of the staff or any questions from members of the board?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Sure, Supervisor Begay.
Yes, so from January 1st through June 30th, 23, there's been services. If it ends at the end of the year, then from January 1st through June 30th, 23, then they will not have this these services. Rental assistance. Is that what she's?
Supervisor Begay, it's the end of the fiscal year, so it would be June 30th of 23.
Oh,
that funding ends. Yes.
Okay. There's different October to September and January to December, and okay.
This is a pass-through grant, so it's going through the state, and so I believe they follow the state fiscal year for that.
All right, any other questions or comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the Arizona Supreme Court funding agreement renewal to continue the eviction case navigator program and accompanying budget amendment with pass-through to the Arizona Department of Economic Security emergency rental assistance funds in the amount of $87,350 for the term of October 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Thank you. I make a motion, Madam Chair, and I just want to thank the staff from the courts to put this program together. They did it very quickly. Gretchen, thank you for your library, and always just the courts is not just a courts, but it's an educational place as well, and helping people to not just go through the courts and that's it, but have all kinds of programs to assist individuals such as this with the housing. Thank you so much.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Begay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, it is unanimous, and Sydney and Gretchen and Shelley and of course Marty, before she retires, really appreciate you being here with us this afternoon and for your information and also for your great job with the program. Really appreciate it. All right. Moving on, item number 10 is consideration of possible action to accept a grant award 15PJDP-22-GG-03836-COAP from the Office of Justice Programs, another pass-through grant from the Department of Justice in the amount of $250,000 for the operations of the Family Treatment Court Program for the period of October 1, 2022 through September 30th, 2025. And this includes an overall budget increase in the amount of $250,000 and an additional 0.48 FTE peer support specialist position and a match amount of $62,500 covered by current salaries. That is one long motion, but it sounds like it's an important motion. So juvenile court, do we have someone from the juvenile court to present on this, County Manager?
I'm looking at the list right now and I don't see, well, hang on, Julian Schultz. If you can promote Julian over. Okay, excuse me, Jillian, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Jillian, can you respond to give us more information on this particular item?
Sure. The grant is to start a family treatment court program at our juvenile court facility. The program is for families involved in our dependency system. And so these are families who have an open case with the Department of Child Safety, and they have taken court action. So they have dependent children in the system. It's similar to the downtown recovery court that I'm sure some of you are familiar with, but this program is different in that it really focuses on providing the supports and treatment to the family as a whole. So they'll be able to utilize some of our services that we're already providing at juvenile court to utilize counseling services, our visit coaching services, our family support services. We'll have a treatment component to our family treatment court, along with a support group component. And just, you know, it's a longer term program. It's voluntary for the families to participate in. Other counties around the state that have a family treatment court are currently seeing a greater than 90% reunification rate for families who complete family treatment court. That's compared with a reunification rate of under 50% for families that don't participate in family treatment court.
Thank you very much, Julian. Thanks for the overview. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? If not, at this time, I would entertain a motion. Not going to read it again because it's really long, but you have it before you and I have read it once. Do I have a motion to accept the grant award?
I make a motion to accept the award, and I just want to thank the family court, Madam Chair. It's just another example of how Coconino County keeps families together for the well-being of the whole community. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I agree, Supervisor Fowler. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second the motion, which is item 10 also. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, we have a second on that motion from Supervisor Matt Ryan. Yes, it is item 10. All those in favor of passing the motion to accept the grant award, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just get a little too excited.
All right, it is unanimous. For the record, Supervisor Begay needed to step away for a minute, so she was not part of this vote. And I'm sure she'll be returning, and we'll let Lindsay know when she's back. So on number 11, consideration and possible action to approve an Arizona Office of Tourism VAI Outdoor Tourism Revitalization Grant in the amount of $60,547 between Coconino County and Arizona Office of Tourism and corresponding fiscal year 2023 budget adjustment for revitalizing Northern Arizona outdoor recreation and trails. This is Parks and Rec. Is there somebody from, oh, I see Cynthia Nemeth. Hi, Cynthia. And I know you asked to remove this, Supervisor Fowler. Do you have any questions, or should we turn this over to Cynthia Nemeth to present?
I don't have a question, Madam Chair, but I can make a comment. This, Coconino County, we keep talking about the pandemic. However, in our county, we had a shutdown of a major industry, which is NGS. And it was connected to Black Mesa Mine in Navajo County, and it got shut down. We lost thousands of jobs. And so it really changed the economy. We didn't have a time to transition into a new economy because it was almost instant. We were working towards 2044 and it didn't happen. So, one of the ways we're working in various areas to revitalize and put a regional economic plan together, one of which is the Trails Alliance. And we partner with Kane County out of Utah. And we have another group that is in the Page, the Chi'i region. I won't just say it's Page, it's the Chi'i, Glen Canyon. There are many partners. As you all know, in District 5, there are many jurisdictions, federal, state, city, tribes, and we're all partnered in this Trails Alliance. And I'm really excited to have this grant approved. And I'm hoping that Steve was going to be able to join us. He is our representative on the Parks and Recreation. He's such a champion, his whole family. And so I'd like to just have Cynthia, I want to thank Cynthia and her team for working with us on this grant, and also just on the Trails Alliance out there. And so we have a map. I'm hoping that she'll be able to show a map. Thank you. A sample.
All right. Cynthia, we have before us a motion to approve a grant. Is there any information you can present us on the grant?
Madam Chair, members of the board, it's my pleasure to be able to have this on the agenda for your approval. And thanks to Liz Krug, who's the lead author on this grant. And Liz, please fill in any and all blanks that I may be omitting. But what this will do is help promote trails within the area of Page. What this also does is helps us achieve some of our master plan goals of reaching out and working with outlying communities to help them achieve their recreational aspirations and needs. And so anyway, Liz, please add to that and maybe talk about what the grant will do, and I'll load up this sample while you do that.
Well, thank you. Chairwoman, members of the board. So this grant is an opportunity for us, as Cynthia mentioned, to expand the goals of our master plan and help the great organizations up in that Page area. But as Supervisor Fowler mentioned, it's very much a broader segment of groups who are looking to really revitalize and bring forth a lot of the great tourism opportunities in that area. And so we wrote this grant with the intention of creating trail map data. So as people go out and recreate, a lot of them are using phones or other devices to download trail data and use maps and go out so they don't get lost. And we want to be able to facilitate that in a safe, culturally respectable manner. So we have Steve Mongrain, who is a Parks and Recreation Commissioner member, has been working on actually launching this project, getting it off the ground for several years. So he and a core group of volunteers are ready to go and do some trail mapping data. And it would be on trails that are already created and established. So it is not creating new trails. But what we would do is help gather that trail data in format. This right here is on your screen is a draft type of format. Directions to the trailhead, the trail description, GPS coordinates, for example, that pertinent information for visitors as they go about getting to know the area more. So we would collect this data, make it available on a new website, make it available in printed format in already existing tourism venues in and around the area. One interesting thing we heard from staff members here, for example, is mountain bikers who are in Sedona, for example, or in the Phoenix Valley looking to even travel north to go to southern Utah. This area might be a really good point for them to also explore on their travels to other areas. So it's reaching audiences that may not be familiar with the area. That's the goal of this program, but it would also be promoting it. This is a tourism grant, so it would be putting in advertisements in some publications, perhaps the airport here. So it's reaching audiences through various ways like that. I hope that's enough of a description for you.
So Madam Chair.
Yes, Supervisor Fowler.
Thank you. And the map that you're looking at, or that was just shown, thank you, board, because that map was created with a community initiative grant. I'm really excited about this network that we've established in that region and with Kane County and the other jurisdictions in the area for developing and really looking at trails as a way of tourism and just an economic boost in the region. So thank you so much. Thank you, Cynthia and Liz and our Commissioner Steve, and I was hoping that he would be here, but he's such a champion out there. So thank you.
You'll be glad to know he was on the golf course, hole number 15.
Yep. He is.
And thus could not join
texts
us.
me back.
And I would like to note that the city of Page has also contributed in-kind cash towards this grant. So they are a significant partner in all of this.
That's excellent. So
Deborah's great over there.
Excellent to bring this to our attention and for the information. Supervisor Ryan, did you have a question or comment?
Comment, Madam Chair. I want to compliment Lena. She's been pushing and pushing and pushing on this one as an opportunity. Not just that, but bringing a lot of people together and complimenting staff for working together, putting a grant together, and your involvement of your commissioner, but so many other people, Lena. Good job. You've been looking for this for a long time, and way to go with this. I'm still thinking about my vote. We'll see where we go here.
You know how he is. He's a hard sell, Supervisor.
Yes.
Supervisor Fowler, would you like to make the motion?
I'd be honored to make the motion, Madam Chair, to what is the wording on it? I'd like to move that we accept this. Okay, I'd like to move that we approve the Arizona Office of Tourism, VAI Outdoor Tourism Revitalization Grant in the amount of $60,547 between the Coconino County and the Arizona Office of Tourism.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Very good. And we have a motion and second. And corresponding fiscal year 2023 budget adjustment as well for revitalizing Northern Arizona outdoor recreation and trails. I assume that that's acceptable to both you, Supervisor Fowler, and Supervisor Ryan.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, very good. We have a motion, an excellent motion, and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. I'm not sure Supervisor Begay has joined us yet. Lindsay, is she back with us? I didn't see a vote from her.
Aye.
Aye, all right, Supervisor Begay, thank you for joining us. And number 12, consideration of possible action to reappoint Miguel Vasquez to the Coconino Hispanic Advisory Council for a 4-year term to expire December 31st, 2026. This is from District 1, and I had asked to have this removed. And it is my great honor to recommend to the governing board the reappointment of Miguel Vasquez to the Coconino County Hispanic Advisory Council. Many of you know Dr. Vasquez. He has been a longtime member of CHOC. As a matter of fact, he was one of the founding members of CHOC. And before that, he has been very active both at NAU in the Department of Anthropology, but really throughout our community, promoting cultural diversity, cultural respect, and has been very, very active within CHOC and the Hispanic community. So it's my great honor to have him being willing to be reappointed from District 1 to the Hispanic Advisory Council. I'm not sure if he's with us here. If he is, I would promote him, but I'm not sure he's with us.
I don't see him.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vice Chair Vasquez, you might know this guy.
Yeah, I just texted Lindsay to let her know that he is on as a participant and gave her the name so she can pull him up. And this guy is my father, and so for that reason, I'll recuse myself from further conversation on this point. Thank you.
Very good. And Miguel Vasquez, if you're with us, if you would like to make a couple comments on the motion here that we will be entertaining in just a minute on your reappointment to CHOC. And I see you as Mayan Winds Flagstaff, and you are on mute. Miguel, are you having technical difficulties there? It appears we have technical difficulties. Oh, wait a minute. There he is. All right, there he is.
Yes, I have technical difficulties. I would like to thank the board for considering my reappointment to CHOC. As you mentioned, I was one of the original members. Liz Archuleta approached, I don't even remember how long ago it was, but Liz, when she wanted to start the advisory councils, the 3 advisory councils, she approached me to be with CHOC, and I was obviously honored to do so. I've been a little bit under the weather for the last couple of years since my retirement and some illness and such, but I decided it's time to get back in the ball game. And so I humbly request my reappointment to CHOC. I also wanted to mention the significance of CHOC. Actually, Geronimo came up with, we were looking around for a name and we were trying to figure out what do we want to call ourselves. And CHOC happens to be the Mayan god of rain, of fertility, of abundance. And all of those are good things, very much appreciated here in Coconino County. So we thought that that might be appropriate. And if you've ever seen our logo, you'll see a picture of CHOC. And so again, I'm very honored to be considered for this. And I also want to say that since we moved to Flagstaff about 32 years ago, I have consistently heard really good things about the Coconino County government that are really outstanding. And I know many of you now, and I continue to agree with that assessment. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm very proud to be a member of this advisory council, and very proud to be a resident of this county. And thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. And I want to thank you for your service, Miguel, and your willingness to be reappointed here to CHOC. And I did not know the history of the name. So thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. And I know he's from District 1. This is appointment from District 1. But I would ask, since I'm chairing the meeting, if somebody would please entertain the motion to reappoint Miguel Vasquez to the Coconino Hispanic Advisory Council for a 4-year term to expire on December 31st, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So I will make that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Fowler. I appreciate that. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion, Madam Chair.
And we have a second from Supervisor Matt Ryan. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is Supervisor Begay. And it is unanimous. And I want to point out that we did have one recusal, and that is by Supervisor Vasquez. Miguel, thank you. Welcome back to Chalk. I don't know what we would do to Chalk without you, and really appreciate your continued service here in Coconino County. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, gracias. Just so you know, I've been here since the beginning of the meeting, but I didn't know how to get on it myself. But I've been here since 3:30, just so you know.
All right, well, hopefully it was informative for you, and we appreciate
No,
you.
it was very interesting. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, members of the board, we have gone through our consent agenda and those items that we have withdrawn from the consent agenda. So we now are moving on in our agenda. We have a matter under the Public Health District, and we must resolve as the Public Health District Board of Directors. Do I have a motion to resolve as the Public Health District Board of Directors?
So move.
A motion by Supervisor Rye. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Fowler. All those in favor of resolving as the Health District Board of Directors signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. We are now the Health District Board of Directors. We do have one item. It is a consent agenda item. And so we would take it as one motion and one vote without discussion. If you want to have a discussion on this, we're going to need to remove it from the consent agenda. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to accept item 15 from on the consent agenda, consideration of possible action to approve a national network of public health institutes infrastructure support grant for coroner, medical examiner, or legal death investigator offices to purchase case management software for a period of November 1, 2022 to May 31st, 2023 in the amount of $20,000. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So move.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Second by Supervisor
So approved.
Ryan. All those in favor of approving the National Network of Public Health Institutes grant in the amount of $20,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous and it passes. The board will now resolve back as the Board of Supervisors. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second, Supervisor Ryan, and second by Fowler. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, members of the board, we are now the Board of Supervisors. We have an action item. This is presentation and discussion regarding an update on the rural broadband information technologies. And we have Director Matt Fowler with us. I see we're way behind. Do we want to take a 5-minute break before we go forward and hear from Matt Fowler? It looks like there's a yes. So Matt, give us 5 minutes. Let's take a 5-minute break and come right back, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, are we getting people back here for the meeting since we're about an hour behind?
We are working on it, Madam Chair.
Let's see, we have Supervisor Fowler, we have Supervisor Begay. We have.
Drinking my tea.
Good for you. It's too late in the day to drink tea for me. Do we have Supervisor Vasquez back? And there's Supervisor Ryan. Supervisor Vasquez. All right, there he is, great. So, and I did see Matt Fowler and I see Helen Costello. And we have a update on rural broadband information technologies. And County Manager, you want to turn this over to Matt, or do you have some comments?
Actually, Sue Brown is going to do a quick intro and then it's all to Matt.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for being with us today to continue our discussion on rural broadband. We have been happy over the last week or so to have one-on-one meetings with each member of the board. We are still pending 1 or 2 of those and look forward to concluding those as well. And Madam Chair, this is one of our regular updates, but we hope to in the very near future bring back another session where we bring the results of those conversations, those one-on-one conversations, and a path forward that includes some guidelines for rural broadband and the projects we may choose to pursue prior to budget, which will engage some conversation and budget as well about that. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Information Technology Director Matt Fowler.
Thank you very much, Matt. Good to be with us, or thank you for being with us this evening.
Matt, are you muted?
1 second there, I apologize. I'm trying to get the screen share to work properly and apologize for the inconvenience.
I think we're just all feeling really good that you're having a problem with the technology.
Yeah, it's a good thing when I have some challenges as well. So I just want to say thanks, first of all, to Deputy County Manager Brown, also to Madam Chair and members of the board. Thank you for having us here today. Obviously, broadband is a huge topic across the United States and across the world. Everyone is seeing the impacts around not being connected and to those underserved and unserved areas. Today, we're going to talk about the Highway 89, just a brief update around right-of-way. We're going to discuss some recent events and developments around broadband, the recent Arizona Commerce Authority grant application, IIJA grant awareness. We're going to give a brief update on our progress with SpaceX and Starlink, and then allow opportunity for any kind of questions and comments from our board. So starting off with Highway 89, just as a refresher, this is the project from Flagstaff to the border of Utah for approximately $30 million. And this is to install middle mile to provide a variety of services and transport for last mile providers to the residents and different businesses. We did receive a response from Bureau of Indian Affairs and also the Navajo Nation General Land Development District, referring us over to another carrier that also is pursuing that same route of Highway 89. That carrier is Arcadian. We've reached out to them several times. We're happy to look at partnership opportunities. We reached out again over the last 2 weeks to better understand what those dark fiber costs would look like for considerations for our board in the event that we were to look to partner with Arcadian in some capacity. Unfortunately, we have not received pricing to date. The original request went in January of 2022. And so this is a considerable amount of time that we haven't received confirmation or pricing. However, we did get an email back from their CEO last week saying that he was more than happy to talk. And so that is obviously some progress. Of course, we're going to continue under the board's direction and pursue right-of-way with various landowners along this route and consider various partnership opportunities. Some more recent broadband events was on July 14th of 2022, and also just last week on October 27th is the continuous broadband initiative on Navajo Nation meetings. Supervisor Fowler was recognized at this meeting for her outreach and continuous collaboration with multiple states, working directly with the Navajo Nation. So kudos to Supervisor Fowler. Also on August 11, 2022 was the commercial lighting out at the Grand Canyon Unified School District. This was huge. This is absolutely needed. And to be able to take that fiber up Highway 64 and get this Grand Canyon Unified School District lit up was a huge accomplishment. In addition, we were invited to the Digital Access Task Force for Arizona on August the 29th, and our office attended. And then as a follow-up from that meeting, they asked our office to present on our SpaceX and Starlink beta testing and our student projects. And so we were happy to share that with the task force. Looking at some additional developments across our county, again, focusing on Highway 64 with the recent fiber from Williams to the Grand Canyon Village. During this project, you can see on the screen the items that have a check mark are complete. So the Red Feather Lodge of Tucson is lit. Kaibab National Forest, United States Forest Service housing area. The Valley Airport, Grand Canyon National Park Airport. And in addition, ADOT also had some upgrades. So those are all complete, expanding services, and really excited to make that announcement. In addition, ComNet, who's the carrier, is also looking to expand services via an E-rate filing to the National Park Library. That's in process. That could take some time, but that's also a recent development. For page fiber upgrades, this directly impacts our county and the services we provide our constituents. We've had a lot of challenges over the years of having reliable and fast internet service for our various departments. The sheriff's office is one, obviously running at only 9 megs is extremely slow in today's technology. So the sheriff's office, health and human services, juvenile, justice court, and adult probation, we've recently signed contracts with our board's approval, and we're looking at lighting. If everything goes smoothly, we're looking at lighting these services within the next 30 to 45 days. And so this will be a huge game changer for Kim and for Sarah Dalfit and for everyone that works in these areas, just to really increase the productivity and provide services better than we are today for our customers across the county. And so in addition, we also have the Winona Wireless Broadband. This was coming from a CAF award, which is the Connect America funds. And this is looking at additional cellular tower sites that are under review in various areas that would be beneficial to Winona area, which is east of Doney Park. Some continuation topics around developments is the Interstate 17 fiber, corridor. This is kicked off by Governor Ducey. And so this is a much needed project that has a lot of traction. This has been talked about several times. And so as we look at, originally this was, I think, estimated to be complete in October of 2022. The project has slipped slightly, but it's still on track now for early 2023 is the latest development. We've also heard of a to be determined date to do a lateral off of that demarcation point that lands right here at the Interstate 40 at Flagstaff. And that's going to go west, right? That's going to go all the way to the border of California. The first stop is going to be in Mojave County. And then obviously with the ALLO expansion, that'll really be of benefit for having multiple routes and more of a fault tolerant network for egress for any of those counties or cities that connect to this route. So more to come, a lot of investments from the state, and Governor Ducey obviously has done a great job of making broadband a priority. Taking a look also at continuation of developments, Navajo Nation was awarded in August of 2022, $50 million from the U.S. Department of Commerce. This is going to allow 11 new telecommunication towers on the reservation. About 204 lineal miles of fiber will be installed, and this would directly impact and improve 27,000 homes on the Navajo Nation. The actual routes of the fiber is proprietary. We don't have any maps that we can share to show if that's going to touch 89 or different areas on the reservation. But it's great to see that there's investments directly for infrastructure and broadband in these areas. In addition, we're also seeing E-rate progress for schools and libraries on the Navajo Nation. 110 chapter houses have been approved. 13 of those chapter houses are directly within Coconino County. There's a huge support effort right now with our state E-rate director, and there's a lot of prioritization around broadband. And then in addition, Smith Bagley, which is also known as Cellular One, is taking a look at developing tower locations also on the reservation as well. When we take a look at the ACA grant, this is the Arizona Commerce Authority grant that we did the letters of support for, and we had different projects that we'll talk about in just a minute. This was the one that was awarded. So for ACA RGDB was eligible up to $10 million for rural counties, which Coconino County is classified as. Out of the $10 million, our county received $979,753. And to rephrase that, the money was invested to the carrier, not to Coconino County, but this has a benefit to Coconino County. We would have liked to see larger numbers, closer to that $10 million ceiling of fiber and infrastructure dollars coming from ACA to our county, but we're happy to see this project. The carrier that was awarded the $979,000 was Suddenlink, also known as Altice, who bought out Suddenlink, and more recently as Optimum. You've probably seen that on some radio advertisements. And so Optimum is going to be looking at an expansion that would improve 4,264 homes, approximately 173 businesses, and 8 community anchor institutions. We do have the documentation in more detail for this that we can share with the board, but not having the right documentation from the carrier to share that publicly, we've reserved that right until we have their permission, but we're happy to share that with our board, just for your awareness of what this means, the cost, the affordability, and any questions that you have, we can also bring back the carrier at a later date if you had more in-depth conversations around the project. The impact areas and the benefit right now are in District 3 for Supervisor Matt Ryan, and also District 4 for Supervisor Judy Begay. Please take note on the illustration of the picture on the screen towards the right, that the boundary line is going to change. So with the census, you can see here that in 2023, this is all going to end up in District 3 for Supervisor Matt Ryan. However, right now, a portion of this, which is in the pinkish area, is also in Supervisor Begay's district. So this is exciting. Just some, different housing development areas around there. If anyone's curious that's listening, would be like Munns Park, Kachina, Mountain Air, getting fiber into these areas where there is some internet today, but it's degraded services with very limited capacity. And so these are areas obviously that would benefit from having this expansion. Our applications that we signed letters of support for with various carriers did not get approved. The big one that we had out in Tuba City was in partnership with NTUA, and that was to connect the VA Center and some other really critical resources in the library. And our second project, letter of support, was for WANRAC in partnership with the city of Flagstaff, contingent upon who was selected for the fiber installation. This is just a project in its infancy to ACA. And so there was really great synergy between the city of Flagstaff and Coconino County, between our offices. And what you're seeing on the screen were some different options that we gave to Arizona Commerce Authority. What this means is that we would be able to light up a majority of the county buildings right here in Flagstaff, and at the same time install fiber to all the city of Flagstaff buildings, in addition to moving fiber up Highway 180 out to Baderville, Fort Valley area that does not have fiber today. So this was a very viable project. I was surprised, honestly, that it didn't get approved. I was very excited about it. I knew we couldn't talk about it publicly because there wasn't a vendor going through the procurement and legal process for selection at that time. But I'm really hopeful that in the future, when we do have opportunities under the county manager's office to come back to the board, that this could be one of those projects that's essentially, ready to go for submission, that if we take a look at future grant opportunities. The reason I want to emphasize a little bit more on this particular project is because if done correctly, it can break off into multiple phases. And so even though we're starting basically right there up Milton, across downtown, going up 180 out to Baderville, there's also the laterals that can come off of Forest. There could be opportunities for FMC in the event that they, were interested, but then, curve up there by the NASET location and eventually get over to Cedar, which then allows opportunities to light up Greenlaw, to light up Sunnyside, to get over to CCC, to possibly light up our data center. There's a lot of opportunities there. So it's exciting, and I really appreciate the synergy between the city of Flagstaff and our county. And I really feel like we can get a lot done by being united and strengthen our dollars and our efforts. So I'm really excited for ongoing conversations and opportunities that we can bring to our board for your consideration into the future. Taking a look at broadband and grant awareness, specifically with IIJA, just to clarify, this is just a small list. There's a very long list of grants that are available. We're not highlighting all of them today. We're just taking a look at the two very large award amounts. So the first one that you see for future consideration is known as BEAD. It's Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Grant Program, and it's $42 billion with a B, $42 billion available for eligible entities across the United States, with the number one priority being rural areas, which of course is Coconino County. So this is exciting. It allows us the opportunity to plan and prepare. As you can see here, there also is a 25% match. So even though we're applying for these, there is still a financial consideration and contribution from our board, given that time in the event that we want to proceed and move forward. The second one that we wanted to highlight today is the Middle Mile Broadband Infrastructure Grant, also known as MMG. And this is $980 million available with federal assistance under the MMG program. So this one's a 30% match. So obviously, just simple math, we had a $10 million project under MMG, we'd be looking at $3 million. Some of these projects can be up to 20, 30, 40, $50 million, depending on the area. Again, from the pricing that we did from the original feasibility study with the grant from ACA prior to COVID for Highway 89, that came in at $30 million without doing the connections with community anchor institutions, just for reference. As we take a look at SpaceX, we've had a lot of success and a lot of hard work, a lot of teamwork across various districts. And so this is really exciting that we can get services to those that need it the most. People that cannot pay for this on their own and that are on reduced lunch programs and on E-rate and are really struggling to get connected. And, a lot of these are all EDU. So this is all education. And so there's been a lot of partnership with Supervisor Fowler, of course, and also with Supervisor Begay. And to date, we've connected approximately 150 different households. And so there's lots of different students in those households. And then the first 2 years did not come from any of the general funds from Coconino County. These were made by donations directly to SpaceX. And so we were able to partner there and get a lot of people connected. And it's been very, very successful. We've had a lot of positive feedback. SpaceX actually reached out and said they were ready to do a phase 2. And we just submitted a second round of qualified potential candidates that went to the feasibility engineers with SpaceX to map out all the different satellites and make sure that there'd be coverage for these particular participants. So really great work and exciting to see all the students get connected. And we're constantly working to expand services with Starlink for those areas that don't have fiber, copper, or microwave or any type of option to utilize the internet. And those were all residential. Now we're going to talk about commercial. Now, commercial has never been available, even though we reached out to SpaceX Starlink in the very beginning, asking for beta technology and that we could do pilot testing. They weren't ready at that time to do anything commercially. They gave us residential equipment. I'm certain you guys all remember we also invested in 45 households separate from the student initiative. But we were always wanting to see what we can do for some of our county locations and can we improve services. And so we ended up making an investment for Supervisor Fowler's office, which is District 5 in Tuba City. What we were experiencing there was just a whole lot of packet loss, intermittent services. It would work, it wouldn't work. It would work, it wouldn't work. So if you take a look at the illustration on the screen that's circled, you can see that through the month of August and September, there's this huge spike of packet loss. Basically means that the services are unusable. We have great partnerships with our carriers, and they did everything they could in order to restore this service. But when SpaceX Starlink reached out and said, you know what, we're ready to do a commercial unit, we jumped on it. We're like, hey, let's do this. Let's test it. This will be a great use case. And so we made that investment. And the illustration on the bottom of the screen shows that it's been extremely stable. We have had some power issues recently, but overall, we've been providing services to District 5 at that location via Starlink without issue since the 4th of September. Because the timeline around the fiber upgrades at the city of Page for HHS, adult probation, and those other areas, there is a saturation point right now at the Flagstaff Medical Center where we have some equipment. So we did purchase a second Starlink commercial unit to use in the interim that has been received and we're planning on installation just as an interim until we get that fiber connected, which will give us the 1 gig capacity. So this is a success story so far. We're very hopeful that it will continue to work well. Obviously, our number one is fiber. If we can have infrastructure in the area, that's really our preference. But this is a great interim solution in order for us to get things accomplished. I just want to pause for a moment. I think Deputy County Manager Brown raised her hand. Did you have something?
I just wanted a quick clarification, Matt. I'm sorry about that. You said Flagstaff Medical Center. I think you meant Canyonlands and Page. That's all.
Yeah, I apologize. I said that incorrectly. At the Page location.
Yeah,
where we have
Page Health and Human Services.
Yeah, and so sorry about that. Let me just to clarify, all the different buildings and circuits all come back to one demarcation point, and they all get saturated right there. So if we can get rid of that 9 meg circuit and throw in this unit that'll give us 300 instead of 9, that'll really open things up in the interim until we get the fiber. I think it's Lake Powell Medical Center, LPMC, if I remember correctly. So thank you for correcting me, Sue. And that's it. Hopefully we can get you guys some time back. We want to allow opportunity for questions, comments. This is absolutely also a conversation. And we are, to Deputy County Manager Brown's point, looking to come back at a later date and seek some direction on some of these different projects. We had really fruitful conversations with each of you, with exception to Supervisor Ryan, who was unavailable. So we do plan to follow up with you, Matt, in the coming weeks when you're available. But we did want to gather, some of the top priorities within the individual districts so we can compile this data and bring us all back together on where we want to emphasize our energy, our dollars, and our considerations around infrastructure and broadband. So I'll pause there and see if there's any questions or comments from the board.
Yes, thank you very much, Matt. And I have some, but before I do that, I'll just go open it up for the rest of the board. Any other comments, questions? Supervisor Fowler.
Okay, it looks like Matt wants to speak. He can go first because I'm just going to add to the presentation. So,
yeah, actually, I appreciate the presentation. I hadn't had the chance, and I'm going to hold off and wait until I get a chance to catch up with Matt and his crew on this. Really appreciate the work and know the importance of it, no matter where we are in the county. Thank you.
And Matt, could you take down the PowerPoint so we can see everybody? There, that's great. Thank you so much. So, any other comments, questions from the board?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Supervisor Fowler.
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much. Broadband is so important. We've been all working on broadband and our own capacity in our own positions, and it's just such an important work. And I just have to recognize our county team. They are amazing. They're innovative. They are so creative, and just always trying to think about what next. And they're always way ahead of us, and we have to support them. Absolutely support them as a board, and if we do mean what we say we want broadband in every household, that means that we as a board and as a county must be able to support them financially and otherwise. So, and I believe that during the budget we had conversation about it, and we just need to do more. We've been working on Starlink, where my office works directly with the school districts, and we've been working with the school districts, bring together the names, and then we have meetings with Starlink, and then we deliver them out to the schools and to the parents. So it's been such a successful project that we've been working on, and my office with the Starlink lit up now, has changed absolutely. We couldn't even work in the office. Our phones didn't work there, and then just the internet was just not working. So it is a really big change there. We continue to have our broadband initiative on Navajo Nation meetings, and meeting with all the states and the counties, all the partners, the providers, the Navajo Nation Council president, and it's been going really well. There's really a lot of good movements that are happening. Navajo Nation just recently did a change internally for right-of-ways for to have it at a one-stop shop, they call it. So it's been, there's movements. Everybody's trying to make sure that we take advantage of all these federal dollars that are coming through, that we have a small window of opportunity here. So I just want to thank Matt and his staff. Helen and Matt are just amazing, and they just are just there all the time. And so anyway, I just want to thank you all, and I think we need to, and we have been really supporting them, and there's just some changes in the broadband world, and we're really learning a lot from working on these broadband initiatives every single day. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Fowler, and thank you for your leadership and advocacy on broadband. And you're right, this is near and dear to many of our hearts here in Coconino County, since we are such a rural county, and we certainly have more than our share of broadband deserts. And it's very exciting, Matt and Helen, to hear the changes really in the last year that have gone on, and the expansion of broadband, and really reaching out for really digital equity here with our rural communities. And it's expanding broadband along Highway 64. I know Tuzion and those communities have really put their own money in and have worked hard to get hooked up and lit up there in that part of Coconino County. Winona, Long I-17, I-40, those are very important projects from the state and ADOT as we move forward. It's going to help many people on those corridors, and certainly help us here in Coconino County do our business. And so it's really wonderful. Couple of things I do have, and by the way, also District 3 and 4, very exciting news. They have certainly been part of that broadband desert for a really long time. So that's very exciting news. I'm disappointed that a very good collaboration between the city of Flagstaff and Coconino County didn't rise up to the award that we were hoping for. Hopefully there'll be other opportunities and we can continue to pursue that, to be able to connect our county buildings and so many of the Flagstaff areas that have been really in that broadband desert, I think is going to be important moving forward. And I look forward to continuing our discussion on priorities. I continue, and I know I'm not the only one. I know other supervisors have also, and Supervisor Fowler have indicated concerns about the Arcadian and failure to get the right of way with Arcadian. And I think that what we had talked about before, this is not going to be forthcoming. We really need to look at that and see whether this should continue to be our focus. We have so many communities that still need broadband connectivity. And certainly there has been the $50 million for the Navajo Nation, so necessary and so needed and so important. And I'm very pleased about that, and other ARPA funds that have been, given to help with infrastructure and broadband installations and really moving broadband forward, especially up in the rural areas on tribal lands. And I would love to see a list of what our IT department still identifies as some of the ongoing broadband deserts, if you will, because I think that would be helpful for us to see that. It's changed a lot in the last year. I mean, that's really cool to see that. And so I think it'd be great to take a look and see, where our highest and best need is across rural Coconino County, so that when we talk about moving forward and priorities moving forward, we have more information given all of the wonderful advancements that have been made. So I'd love to see that moving forward and look forward to the continued discussion. This is really, really amazing. I mean, a year ago versus now, I feel, and it's been probably 2 years, but it's really moved forward, and appreciate Supervisor Fowler and Supervisor Begay for your work in helping and moving that forward in the northern part of Coconino County. And, we're getting there. That's exciting. So I look forward to continued discussions on it and look forward to getting some additional information to help us prioritize as this move forward. And Matt and Helen, and your staff, you've really deserve a great kudos for the work that's been done and for the achievements that have been accomplished. And we look forward to continuing to hear from you and helping to advance all of our agendas here in Coconino County for rural broadband and digital equity. So thank you so much, Helen and Matt. And we'll continue this discussion moving forward. So any other comments from other members of the board? All right. See, and maybe because we've exceeded our time by about 2 hours, but hey, it's a good meeting, and we're doing lots and learning lots. So any other comments or questions, County Manager?
No, I'll defer. Matt Fowler had one other comment to make, and then I'll go after you, Matt.
I'm so sorry, Matt.
It's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Just to clarify one caveat to the ACA grant that was awarded that went to Optimum. It might be a little confusing seeing a dollar amount that's so small, 973 or whatever it was, $1,000. What can we do with that? If you're curious, it's because it was swapped. So the requirement for all the applicants was a 10% match. In partnership with the city of Flagstaff and putting this deal together. And again, great partnership. We actually had over 20% contribution. So we thought for sure, hey, we're going to get selected for this.
Yeah.
What the carriers did is they put up 90% and asked for the 10, the opposite of what the grant required. So when you take a look at maximizing dollars across the state, that's what Arizona Commerce Authority, I would assume, was doing, is looking at how many dollars can be contributed to fiber across Arizona. And that's why this vendor was more than likely selected, as they were coming in with 90% of the investment, only asking for 10 versus us coming in with 15 or 20% of an investment asking for 80 or 85. So just for your awareness, I know that Chair Horseman and I spoke about that in detail, but wanted to make sure that Supervisor Vasquez and everyone else was aware as well. So thank you.
And they heard from us too, you know. Here we are, we're the most rural county, and the dollars went south instead of coming up here. So we really need to advocate. We as a board cannot sit back. Broadband moves our economy. And the transaction, wait, it didn't go through. Let me dial it again. It moves, it creates jobs. People can come home and repopulate our rural communities, be able to remote education, be able to work remotely, be able to take care of their children. You know, these days broadband is the way of life now. Our phones, everything, all the applications are on our phones. When somebody gets a ticket, they can take a class and not be able to pay for a ticket when the first time they get it. There is so much opportunity. We just talked about veterans. Veterans can do their applications for benefits online, be able to do a job application online. Broadband is everything. So when we talk about supporting broadband, let's not just talk about it. We have to make a commitment, and we really need to advocate at the state level. And I know we're doing that. I know we're doing that at the federal level, but here's an example. We had an opportunity. The announcement was $10 million to the counties. Coconino was one of them, and we didn't get a penny of that. And we made sure that they heard about that, and that was just a real disappointment. We had really great projects, was going to bring broadband into people's homes, businesses. It was a great opportunity for us, and we put in a great partnership, and it just didn't even get a second look, it looks like. So, but we will keep on working with a big smile, and we have great energies, and we have great staff that are working on it, and we just have to keep on pounding away.
Just a comment on that grant, where we went in for 90, for them to give us 90 and for us to contribute 10. The whole purpose of that grant was to help those that were in need of the funding sources in order to provide broadband for rural Arizona. If somebody goes in and says, oh, we'll give you 90%, just give us 10, one has to question whether that was really the highest and best use for these limited funds to help rural Arizona. But that's just an aside, and I'm not always going to be smiling, but we will keep advocating. All right. Any other comments, questions? Otherwise, as always, Matt and Helen, you rock it, and we really appreciate you and your staff and all the great work you're doing. And we're going to continue to advocate together going forward. So look forward to continuing this dialogue and discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, County Manager Peru.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And I think that was just, there wasn't any action on that. Was there, Steve?
None. Madam Chair,
No, there was not, Madam Chair.
The next item is a roundtable, and in the interest of time, updates to the board on any of the information coverability, we can provide that in an email. So I know that the meeting has gone on a little longer than planned, but again, we can certainly provide roundtable via email updates to the board.
And I think we did get some information from Greg Nelson on just 2023 federal legislative agenda and 2023 state legislative agenda. Thank you, Gregory. It's very helpful. And I know you are hoping to get some roundtable with us with the new state legislators. We'll find that out soon, November 8th. And you have a couple of dates I know that have been sent out to our district directors and to the board to try to hold some dates together for roundtable as we move forward. Anything real quickly, Gregory, you want to state on that?
No, Madam Chair, thank you very much. I think you've done a great job capturing it. Thank you, County Manager.
All right. Thanks so much, and we look for your update. And members of the board, we're now at item 20. Oh, I'm sorry, 19. I'm sorry, Steve. Anything on under 19?
No, none of the items below. I mean, in terms of staff reports, board roundtable, it's your call, but for staff report outs, we're good.
All right. Under 20 is roundtable for the board. You know, I know that, you know, this was intended to be kind of a quick meeting. We did not take a break for dinner. We certainly can go forward on roundtable. If there's any members of and we didn't get to do it last time. So if there are any members of the board that have items that you would like to bring forward to the public and to the other board members, now is the opportunity to do so. And I will take us quickly through. I would ask that if there are things that can wait, you might want to have them wait, but for those items that you would like to present, please take the time to do so now. District 2, Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Most of everything that I was going to talk about, I can push off, but I did want to take a moment to recognize both community volunteers and the staff that helped contribute to the community barbecue that we did on October 22nd, celebrating folks in the Fernwood Timberline area. I wanted to say thank you to all the county staff who stepped up and helped make it happen. And also to the two food trucks that helped in the last minute stepped up and helped provide food for the community, Boricua Luna and Express Burritos. We really appreciate their support. And I'd also like to put a shout out to Daniela Harrison, who organized the raffle for the community and raised $700 that was donated to the United Way through that raffle. So I just wanted to put that out there and say thank you to everybody who made that event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Supervisor Vasquez. District 3.
I'll pass, Madam Chair.
All right, District 4. Judy Begay.
Something wrong with my button. Just basically that we went to the Mountain Line meeting and all the people that are members and also the presenters were there. And that they're really looking at a van pool program for all rural transportation. And they're getting input on this plan altogether, and they want to make sure that, you know, it's the best for to provide best services for the people that use the transit system. So that's the only thing that, you know, is happening, but they're really looking at the community for their input as far as getting this plan together. And then they also have that an application security for that CSA now application. That's basically where the it's an app that's it reports security concerns and safety for people out there that use it because of this human trafficking. So they have this going on. So those are that's the only one that I would like to report that from, but they are meeting and they're trying to get community involvement. So library stuff, again, everybody knows, you know, the type of services that they provide, basically youth services, drop and craft, you know, game time, Lego clubs and all this and that, both of the East Library and the downtown library. And then also things that the adults can get themselves involved with, and book clubs and stuff like that. So mask is required and at all the libraries are recommended. And so if you need time with your family, you know, and for family story time, you know, there's a lot of activities that are going on in most of the libraries that are in Coconino County.
Thank you, Supervisor Begay. District 5, Supervisor Fowler.
Yes, let's have fun this weekend. It's the balloon regatta in Page, and it's gonna be a beautiful weekend also. So come on out, and it is great time to hike, great time to fish, great time to kayak, which I love to do, and a great time to go camping. It is fall, and the weather's going to be great for the balloon regatta. So I'm really excited about that. And then we also, in coincide with that, is the NACOG meeting. It's going to be in Page, and there's a number of us that are going over there. Supervisor Vasquez is going to be there. So I'm really excited about that. So anyway, thank you for the delicious community meeting, Supervisor. That was so good. It was fun. It was a little breezy, and it was a great breeze, though. It was wonderful. It was really great to meet community from the Timberline and Fernwood area. So thank you so much for that opportunity. All right, thanks. All right, have a great weekend.
The
or
supervisor,
weekend.
You got to take lots of pictures of those balloons and share them with us. Some of us aren't going to be able to make it up there.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's always great. So thank you.
I'm sorry to miss it. So, and just real quickly for District 1, it's obviously been an incredibly busy time for all of us. We've had some corridor meetings with the west side. I know the east side's had quite a bit of the flood corridor meetings. We've been going forward and working with the west side as well for the flood mitigation corridor meetings. We've had Fort Valley community meeting. We're going to have an update on a sign welcoming people to Fort Valley, and I'll bring that up at one of the later meetings. And have been, working on snow play winter advisory committee for the coordination and communication of all of our partners to have a healthy and safety winter wonderland, and to invite people up here to our Northland in a safe manner, and be able to recreate with their families in a safe way. We'll have more of that at upcoming meetings. Lastly, most importantly, and I want to thank both Vice Chair Vasquez and Supervisor Fowler for attending the webinar with the CSA for the National Center for Public Land Counties. And you know a lot about it. We'll be presenting more information through the CSA at the CSA meeting coming up in Phoenix. But this is basically a National Center for Public Land Counties to capitalize and create an endowment to set up a public lands center to help increase our breadth and depth in policy making for our western states in the area and for our public land. So we'll be talking about that more as we go forward. So I'm not going to go into it now. And then last but not least, and the most important message that we can give to members of our community, you need to vote. Your vote is important. Your vote is critical. Your vote sets a direction of Coconino County. Your vote sets a direction of the state of Arizona. And we have a long ballot. So take the time, learn about that ballot, familiarize yourself with the candidates and the issues, and please remember to vote. We have by mail. We also have the mailboxes, the white mailboxes that are set up, including at our 110 Cherry Building. And obviously you can vote on election day as well. So you have many, many options to be able to exercise your right as a United States citizen and get out there and vote. Talk about honoring our veterans. This is the best way we can honor our veterans. Let's vote. So any other comments from members of the board or from members of the staff?
None, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, very good. Well, thank you all. It is 6 o'clock, so it's not too bad, and really appreciate my colleagues for your commitment and for your input and your votes and your direction and leadership. Really appreciate all of you. And as always, staff, you always knock it out of the park. You always make us look good. So thank you very much for all of your help and assistance. All right. Night all.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night,
Good night, everyone.